So now we discuss the ruling of the labor tribunal, no, labor arbiter. In its decision, the labor arbiter found that Cadi's indefinite suspension amounted to constructive dismissal. Nevertheless, no, so according to the arbiter, this suspension is indefinite. So being indefinite is not sure when Cadiz will return to work. So that indefinite suspension, there being no certainty as to when Cadiz can return to her job and have her salary, will create a very difficult situation for Cadiz, the employee. So it will reach a point where she will have no other choice but to leave her job and find another job because she will need her salary or wage. So according to the labor arbiter, her indefinite suspension amounted to constructive dismissal. Constructive dismissal meaning your employer never told you that you are terminated. However, the employer made it very difficult for you. The circumstances made it very difficult for you, leaving no other choice but to leave your job. No? Unlike resignation, you did it voluntarily. Wala kang gilisod-lisod. Your employer did not make it difficult for you. But in constructive dismissal, in principle, no, the gist of the meaning sa constructive dismissal is your employer made it very difficult for you, thereby leaving you no other choice but to leave your job. So nevertheless, the labor arbiter ruled that Cadiz was not illegally dismissed, as there was just cause for her dismissal, that is, she engaged in premarital sexual relations with her boyfriend, resulting in a pregnancy out of wedlock. So at this point, no, I'm just guessing, if Cadiz was, let's say, a janitor and or the let's say a janitor person, maintenance personnel, and she got pregnant out of wedlock, I don't think it would matter. However, in this case, she was the human resource officer of a hospital and a school. The school part is, I think, important. No? So we will try to appreciate those factual circumstances or observations later on if it is the same consideration, same points being considered by the labor arbiter. So the labor arbiter further stated that her immoral conduct was magnified as serious misconduct, not only by her getting pregnant as a result thereof before and without marriage, but more than that, also by the fact that Brent is an institution of the Episcopal Church in the Philippines, operating both a hospital and college where Cadiz was employed. No? So, mura the school is owned by the church. So I think that's what it's trying to say, you know. So it's a religious organization owns the hospital and the school, institution of the Episcopal Church in the Philippines, operating both a hospital and college where Cadiz was employed. So what mattered here was the job. She was a human resource officer, maybe, no? Then it's a college and hospital, and this college and hospital was owned by the church, no? So the labor arbiter also ruled that she was not entitled to reinstatement, at least until she marries her boyfriend, because she can be reinstated. The employer offered her to be reinstated for so long as she marries her boyfriend. So although she got pregnant out of wedlock, now that she is pregnant or has a child, she must get married to the one who got her pregnant, no? Or the father of her child. So, no reinstatement, and no back wages, and vacation or sick leave pay. Brent, the employer, however, manifested that it was willing to pay her 13th month pay. So basically here, no, it's just, for me, it is a misunderstanding. The employer has a very strong opinion that, which is not baseless, no, for me. It is a strong opinion of the employer, which has, for me, good basis also, saying that we are a hospital and school owned by a church, no? Hospital, a school owned by a church, and you are our human resource officer. So you have to get married, uh, considering that you are already pregnant out of wedlock. So she must marry her boyfriend before she can be reinstated. So basically, the employer does not like to terminate Cadiz. In fact, the employer is willing to pay her 13th month pay. What the employer was not willing was to pay the amounts which were consequences of illegal dismissal, like the separation pay, back wages, because as far as the employer is concerned, the employee, Cadiz, the complainant, was not terminated. That is the position of the employer at this point, no? In this case. As far as Cadiz is concerned, her life was very difficult because she was suspended with no clear date as to when the suspension will end. Therefore, she will have no salary and she will have no other choice but to leave her job at Brent and find another job. So that would be constructive dismissal. So that is the ruling of the labor arbiter. The employer won at the level of the labor arbiter because the labor arbiter said that there was no illegal dismissal. Although there was constructive dismissal, dismissal was constructive, but it was with cause. There was reason. Therefore, there was no illegal dismissal because there was serious misconduct. Immoral conduct of the employee, according to the arbiter, was magnified as serious misconduct, no? Because of the circumstances, no? That the employer, a hospital and a school, was owned by a church, and the complainant here is their human resource officer. So that is the ruling of the labor arbiter. The decision of the arbiter not being favorable to the employee, Cadiz, she elevated her case to the commission, National Labor Relations Commission. So normally in the National Labor Relations Commission, RAB, Regional Arbitration Branch, before the labor arbiter, there is only one person who will make the decision. When it is elevated to the commission, it is more than one, no? So what happened when it was elevated to the commission, the NLRC? So that will be the topic of our next video. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.